We survived, as well as another race of humanoids, which was the Bigfoot, and we evolved differently. With, like man, we evolved, with technology, where the Bigfoot was more nature, and they lived underground, and where we lost a lot of the knowledge. Bigfoot, apparently their race continued with the knowledge, and so they're still able to open up. I don't think that opening up portals is magic. I don't think stepping through dimensions is magic. I don't think that because cloaking or becoming invisible is magic. I think that we're all capable of doing that. We all have those abilities. The ability to shape shift, to time travel. It's all written on my books and on my websites, and how all this is even done. I open up portals. I time travel. It's really not that difficult. But problem is, mankind here, we've lost all that knowledge. We've been given a false history with false information to go along with false history. But and so and then the more of the physics of the nature was collected by these elitists, whether it be the church or government leaders, or whatever the case may be. They found all this information, they hoarded it for themselves. Knowledge is power. And they did not share it with us. They gave us false information. So it was hard for us to evolve. We evolved technically, but we didn't evolve as much as far as understanding and working with nature like the Bigfoot has. But I think that the Bigfoot understands yet today, and they teach their children. And so they're able to basically walk among us without us even seeing them. So, and I've seen the Bigfoot. I'm not afraid of them at all. I've had Bigfoot rush me before, but that was basically to get me and my group out of there because the family was out collecting turtle eggs. So, it was not the time or the place for us to be in there. In this big male, he managed to let us all know this was not the time and place to be there and to come back later. And we did, so. And then we came back the next day and took pictures, of the footprints, and documented broken down trees as the Bigfoot had rushed me. There was a lot of things that was left over. So we were able, and I think we had, I don't know, maybe about 15 people there, so, we had quite a few people as witnesses. But if they wanted to, they could have really hurt us. I think one of the things that I do find curious, there's actually two things I really find curious about the Bigfoot. One is their ability to use infrasound. I've experienced infrasound from a Bigfoot, and with me, I couldn't talk and I couldn't move. I was like paralyzed. And that was when that Bigfoot was rushing me. And it was, but I mean, even though I knew he was coming, I could hear him, I could see him, I couldn't move and I couldn't yell. And I thought that was quite, and then I don't know, I think it was about a year later, we were in the woods, and just almost at the same places where I experienced it, there was this 10 or 12-year-old little boy that was with us with his mom and dad and whatever. And he was in the middle of a conversation like I am with you right now. And all of a sudden, he was just like somebody shut him down. I mean, here he is, mid-sentence, talking away, and boom, all of a sudden, he was just like a robot that had been just shut down. It was like he went blank. He never finished his sentence. He just stared off. He didn't move, nothing. And the mother, and this lasted for a few minutes, and then his mother she was quite upset naturally, and she's shaking him, trying to bring him back, and there was nothing there. And I'm doing the same. And then about several minutes later, he just kind of snapped out of it and says, "What happened? Wow, what happened?" And so, of course, now with me, I had the memory of what happened, but he didn't have any memory. He just said everything went dark. And and we do know that the infrasound does exist because there's a lot of animals that does use the infrasound, like lions and I think the what is it, the giant squid use infra. There's a bunch of different animals and that uses infrasound. And the infrasound puts fear. It can be used in several different ways. It can encase you with fear, where you just feel that something's going to happen to you, you're going to die, or it puts like images in your head of something foreboding, and where you want to run away, or it can paralyze you, like it did with me, and it did with that little boy. So I mean, there's different things that infrasound can do. So that's fair. I'm very interested in how Bigfoot uses infrasound. Is it because he has maybe his vocal cords? Maybe he has like maybe two voice boxes or something. Something is working, or it doesn't. It doesn't work with us. We can't. For some reason, we can't use it. I think though that we could find some sort of an instrument. I imagine the Tesla project is using infrasound. So I imagine you can actually design it. You don't have to naturally have it, like have two different voice boxes or whatever. You might just be able to just create something. Uh, Possible. I think that somebody told me at one point in time that that was maybe the purpose of the flutes too, that you could get certain vibrations off a flute, you know, and using the example of the Pied Piper used the flute to mesmerize the children to follow him, you know. And so and I really think that that's where it was coming from, is that flute. So and flutes, it's being used a lot in the indigenous nations, especially Native American Indians like to use the flute. The trickster, you see the trickster, using flute, and Cocopelli uses the flute. Pam used the flute. So that could be what we need to do, is check that out to see how, kind of research it out, just if you got any playtime, fun time, just get yourself food and just start playing around with it and see how different things respond to it. And then my other big deal is, my other big curiosity is that is the what they call the Land of Oz. I call it the dead zone, where everything goes perfectly quiet. And they say that, and we do know that once things go quiet, something's going to happen. We know that. But, and a lot of people say that they experience that sound, that no sound, when there's a Bigfoot or a dogman around too. But I'm wondering if because the people say that it's because of the animal's sense of predator. But the biggest predator as is right now is man. And it seems like, especially when men are out there hunting, and you don't hear that. I mean, there's that no zone or no sound zone, that dead zone. It doesn't seem to affect it at all. But I'm thinking that maybe the only thing I can possibly think of that could be is either, because it's not just one person will experience, because other people have said, well, I think what it is we become so frightened, the brain shuts down, and so thus you can't hear. It's just the brain's way of protecting us. And I don't think that, because I've taken people up into these the sacred woods many times, and what's nice about the sacred woods is when you're doing experiments, you need to have backup. You can't just work one time, you need something to confirm the first time around. And the woods is a place that is so steady that you can actually go back and experiment and get the same results. And it's one of the only places I know of that it's not a hit and miss. It's an ongoing thing. So you can actually study it. And I probably put in, oh God, I don't know, 20, God, I don't know, close to 20 years studying this stuff. Um, but I'm thinking that either they pull something, when I say they, I don't know who they is, but something pulls us into like a bubble. And within that bubble, there's no sound, there's no wind, nothing. We're just in it. And for some reason, when we get back out of the bubble, we have no recall as to what we were experiencing or what we were seeing in that bubble. It's either that or we've stepped in or we're caught up in something of a dimensional doorway opening up, which creates a void of some sort, and we step into that void. It's the only thing that makes sense to me.